It's the last day of the Insurance Conference 2015. Risk Africa TV is coming to you from Sun City, and we're joined now by MD of Hollard Zambia, Paul Nkhoma. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You opened your presentation today by pointing out that, in a way, South Africans have only just realized that they're really a part of this continent. And that was something we tweeted, and we got a lot of feedback from it, and people saying that was really the quote of the conference. I wanted to get a sense from you. We've heard a lot that South Africans can be quite arrogant going into the rest of the continent. We've done a lot of things wrong. Are you seeing improvements? Do you think we're getting better?
Well, I think, yes, I agree that you're getting better as South Africa. And I've seen that especially from the Hollard context. I mean, when Hollard came in, they came in fully understanding that they needed to have the local knowledge and local expertise. A lot of South African companies come in with a different attitude. They come in with an attitude of, we're coming in, we're going to run the show, all we need is the locals to do the paperwork and so on, and we'll do everything else. But you see, lessons have been learned, and a lot of failures have been there, and we can see that attitudes are changing. Companies are now coming with a different attitude. So I would say that, yes, it's changing. It's something that's actually changing quite drastically.
Do you just talk to me a little bit about the Zambian market and Hollard's position within that?
Well, in the Zambian market, Hollard has been operating there for the last 5 years. We started firstly with a short-term company, and then about 3 years ago, we then started a life company. On the short-term side, when we started, there were 9 insurance companies, short-term companies. We've now grown to about 23. In the space of the last 5 years, we've gone to a position where we're now 5th in the market in terms of income. But in terms of profits, we're actually about 3rd in the market. Thank you.
And is the market growing? What are some of the challenges of doing business in terms of increasing penetration and growth?
Well, the market is growing, and it's growing also because the economy is growing. And usually these things follow each other, insurance and the economy. So, and that's why we're seeing so many more companies coming up, because they've seen an opportunity to grow. And aside from that, we're coming from a base where penetration levels are just slightly over 1% or less than 5%. So the opportunities are quite wide, and there's great opportunity for growth, and that's why we're trading there.
There are, we talk about the big markets and the big demographic markets that are really exciting to enter, but there are also new markets, some of them are also big demographic markets, of course, that have been less interesting to insurance players, or they've just been completely closed to insurance players up till now. So markets like Ethiopia, which has now gone down a little way the road of opening up, and the DRC, which is sort of talking about opening its borders to other insurers. What is the opportunity there, do you think, and what are some of the challenges of going into a market where it has been so closed and where insurance will be so far from the norm?
Yeah, well, when I said, I think in my presentation today, the whole point was to say that Africa is not a country. So in each market will present its own unique opportunities and challenges. So it's important for every player to actually understand that, look, if I'm going into DRC or Ethiopia, the landscape there is not exactly the same. There may both be African countries, but you might find that there's something else in DRC that will be a challenge or an opportunity which may not be in Ethiopia. So I would say that the best thing is you need to know the market you're operating in. We need to understand what's happening in the DRC, what sort of laws they have. It's predominantly, I think, a French-speaking country, whilst Ethiopia is not. So there are all these little nitty-gritties that you need to understand. You need to understand the market, know the people you're dealing with, and identify the people the locals that you can work with.
There's a lot of, so kind of picking up on that issue of needing to have a different strategy for different countries and different markets. There's a lot of talk about reminding South African insurers that we can't simply cut and paste the model from here and move it into other markets. But are South Africans innovative enough? And do you think that there's a possibility to actually transplant some of the innovation that's happening in other parts of the continent and bring it back into the South African market, particularly to increase penetration in the lower income part of the market?
Well, in terms of innovation, I think South Africa is the most sophisticated, innovative market in Africa. And aside from that, they are probably one of the, if not the second most penetrated market in the world. So it just shows you what sort of country that it is. And aside from that, I would say that when it comes to innovation is not static. I mean, innovation is changing every day. And South Africa has exported, for example, to Australia and started up operations there. Meanwhile, there's an opportunity to bring in innovation coming out from Australia. Just like Zambia, when we went into the MTN partnership to distribute motor insurance, selling insurance off the shelf using USSD screens. There's an opportunity that can be brought also into South Africa for Hollard or other insurance players to use the mobile companies using the USSD screen. So innovation is actually, it can be both in and out. So the opportunities are obviously there.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Paul. It's really great to have you at the conference this year.